Hello, thank you for listening. Good day to you, or good evening. This is a show about horticulture, agriculture, and gardening, focusing on plant science, soil science, and microbiology. And the information is for scientific and educational purposes. It's fact-checked. Any of the websites or papers discussed will be put in the description below. And today, I don't have a topic again. It's exams for me. So it's full on. I've got 2 3-hour exams this weekend, or today, and then 2 3-hour exams next weekend. So I've been studying for that because one's very hard. But I'll give it till 2 minutes. If you're already watching this back, fast forward to you see the screen change, and that means the show will probably have started about then. And if there's only goes for 10 minutes, that means there'll be a short show. There was nothing to talk about today, and I can get back to studying. Mind you, the first exam is in 3 hours, so I've got time. So I'll give it till 2 minutes again, and then wait for cool folk to arrive. So that's another 35 seconds. No, 20 seconds. Five seconds. Start talking about what? Something to do with plant science, soil science, microbiology. That's what the show's about. I don't know yet. Hopefully someone on chat will prompt the show in some direction. Because you don't want to, my two subjects today is on cell signaling and science of happiness. So they're kind of a little bit related, the first one, but the second one's not related to the show. And if I was to go on about cell signaling, it goes into crazy detail, so it would just bore the hell out of you. There's so much pathways, different enzymes involved, different types of cell signaling events. It's just, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. It's going to be difficult, the exam. But it'd be good to do it. Looking forward, at least it's the first one I can get it out of the way. So 3 minutes, I don't know what else I can talk about. Tell you what, seasons changed in Australia. That must mean also in Canada by Halloween, the end of the month, means ice roads. That's the general rule of thumb up in the mighty Yukon, where I was for 2 winters. So I'm not really focused today on the show. I'm sorry. I've been exam focused because I only get one chance out. You can get another chance at them, but you have to pay another $50 to do another exam. Not for me. I'd rather pass them all the first time. So that means I've got to be organised. So are you listening? Is there anything you'd like to talk about? Please put in the comments in chat. Give the show some direction. Or if you got any myths or anything weird you've heard, that's pretty cool too. Because I'm out of stuff to talk about. It sounds horrible. It's true though. 5 minutes. I had a terrible time too. Bloody snakes. Bloody eastern browns chasing me. Been horrible. There's a lot of positives in there. There's heaps of positives. But it's just been an eventful week. Come on, what can I talk about? Focus. Well, I'll tell you how my garlic's going. That's plant science related. It's going outstanding. I had to de-scape some of them. The flower tops come out, and then a few weeks after that, the plants mature. So I've done that. You can eat them too. And it's the time of season to consider everything's going into seed. So if you were to build up your fields, consider the seed's going to be dispersed by Mother Nature. Probably now or in a few weeks. So if you were to till something, you would be getting free seed from Mother Nature if you want to use what you've existingly got. And if you don't want those weeds, quickly mow them. Because it takes, remember, a few weeks for a cell to proceed to produce. So once you see seeds, it doesn't mean they're mature. Mind you, in some plants, they slyly produce them under some grasses. They'll produce them wrapped in their own seed, wrapped in their own tissue, in their leaves. Then they'll put them out. So it won't be 3 weeks from when you see those seeds. Probably be more like a week and a half. And if you want to work with what you've already got, let it go to seed. Bang, you've got free seed for your next season. Keeping in mind that if I was let my clover go to seed, it's a winter crop. So in the southern hemisphere, it's flowering now. And if the seeds were to drop, that will next winter, it will grow clover again because of the seeds that's been dispersed. It'll sit there dormant until the right conditions have come around. And the temperature, air and water, and the right temperature will be reached next winter, and that's when it will germinate. So I won't have a problem through summer with that type of weed, but next winter, if my crop that I'm going to do is a winter growing crop, which garlic is, I'll have a big problem. So that's something to be considered. And then I've also got the wind dispersal of the seeds. So the neighbours are producing a lot of seed at the moment, and they're big paddocks that they have. I'm not going to comment on them. So that's going to be dispersed soon too. My way, if the wind blows in my direction. So a few things to be considered just with the turn of the season, and you can use it to your advantage and to your disadvantage. It's been my thought pattern this week. As I look outside at it, it's been kind of in drought conditions too, so you have to think of irrigation as the first thing you do when you're setting up your field. If you can't, you only set up your field to the size of your sprinkler or to your irrigation system. So you design that first, and then you can sow underneath that. Otherwise, it'll be too hard. I'm off the topic a bit. I was kind of on a bit of a seasonal seed dispersal thing, which was pretty good. And in the northern hemisphere, going into the winter, all of the seeds that will be produced through summer will be sitting there dormant, and some of them will die off and stuff. And they'll be getting regerminated again when it comes around and warms up next year. Depends where you are. Because I remember in May, there was still ice flow in the rivers in the Yukon. That was so cool to watch. But back to seed dispersal. So if you want to have a good clover crop going through your pastures this winter coming up in the northern hemisphere, you will have hoped that a lot of seed dispersal was done by clover through Mother Nature last winter, or if not, go and throw some out yourself and start the process. And keep in mind, when do you want your crops to grow? So if you don't want them to grow in winter, that'll be perfect. It can just keep going and doing that each winter. It can keep producing clover seed, nitrogen fixing legume, and it'll die off, creating organic matter, and rhizobium will probably stay right there and work hard and forever green up your winter crop, which everybody else around will not be green. There's nearly like a game in, where is it, in Parksville there on Vancouver Island, where I used to live in British Columbia. People there, it wasn't Parksville there in the rich areas up back near Errington, and they, or Coons, they used to have games where they, not games, but people would let their fields and stuff die off, and it was who would let them die off nearly the best was sort of like, yeah, look, we don't do any, we're the greenest type of people around here, was the attitude that was portrayed type thing. It didn't come out too funny, but anyway, that's what happened. This wasn't meant to be a joke. It was talking about seed dispersal, I suppose. They wouldn't have those types of crops in, those legumes put in. So through the dry periods like that, it would just die off. And mind you, too, in the dry period, everything needs water. You can develop your types of water-tolerant, drought-tolerant crops. Let's get off the topic of seed dispersal and season changing. There you go. I've been discussing that, showing no slides. What does it have to say about not seed dispersal? What can I put in the search engine and start talking about something? All right, dispersal. That didn't help one little bit. Through seasons. Well, that doesn't really help too. It didn't come up much. It just come up. Just by the ways I was saying, just with the wind and the seasons. Animals is one. And water flow when it goes on top, because there's a high bulk density of the neighbours' pastures. They've done horrible work there. They're hunters, not agriculturals, and they get given poor information. And anyway, so the water flows across the top of their ground, so that's another way to disperse seeds. What's this? Yeah. Holy mackerel, it's huge. Evolutionary long distance seed dispersal. That's can be in through thunderstorms, through the convective updrafts. Autochore, what's that word mean? Autochore is when plants disperse their seed without any help from external vectors. Gravity, ballistic dispersal, allochory, wind, water, through animals. That's a good example. Look at that dog running through the bush. Wow. I get foxes when they run through the neighbours. Here's a good, not seeds, but foxes run through the fields when they spray them with glyphosate, and they run through mine. And I can see where this fox has run because it's killed everything. Colourful berries will attract birds. Okay. Seed dispersal by ants. Myrmecology. Myrmecology. Myrmecology is the study of ants. That's funny. That's cool. Humans. See how those spokes, that's the seeds, the hooked arcanes. That's how they invented Velcro. So I noticed that and thought, wow, this is pretty amazing. I think it was in Scandinavia. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's pretty good. So I can. There's today's seed dispersal from the seasons. Seed dispersal. What I'm talking about is like seasonal change. It actually come up what I was going to put in for today's topic. It come up as what it come up as. Seasonal changes are deeply entwined with seed dispersal, as plants time their seed production to coincide with favorable conditions and use seasonal cues to disperse seeds effectively. This is how I should have started. Plants may disperse seeds at the beginning of the wet season for immediate germination or at the end, or go dormant for the next seasons. Allow them to be transported. Yeah, pretty cool. Well, that'd be a good read. Differentiation seasonal in substitutional microcytes. It's good to read these papers because that's how, see how I put that stuff in, it comes up straight by that, not by other people's videos and stuff, because I click on these the most of the time and it gives me really good, you can see how the studies have gone and how you can interpret that information to use that to answer your question. Directionally of long distance seed dispersal. Feces of seeds of birds. Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that way. Because the bird's going to eat the seeds and then it'll fly. It could even, I've got one, it travels how many 4,000 miles to my house now. It's a migratory bird. There are a few of them out the front. And that could be bringing stuff from Papua New Guinea. Huh, that was pretty cool. Oh, images. Might be. There's some rad slide there. Climate change, urban habitats, corridor effects. Oh, that's a good way of what do you call it? If you've got problems with animals vectoring your seeds, you can do the corridor efficacy. I like that one. Create a spot where animals can put all their seeds or their pollen, and that's cool. I never would have thought of that. A lot of these studies. You can just go for hours of all these. I don't know about you, but I love reading these things. End animals, water. Bursting or humans. What would be under animals? Non-degraded habitat or habitats. That's pretty self-explanatory. How that will affect things. That was good. Corridor effect to trap vectoring seeds. Yeah, there it is. Seed dispersal. It's only 4. They throw humans. It's animals. There's ants there. I studied ants for many, many years. I'm very interested. If humans could be more like ants, holy mackerel, we'd be amazing. It will. I just don't want to get started on ants. Removal. Also, how much they transport seeds, and then they germinate, and they survive. 2 years' time. There's a study into it. That'd be sick to read. Got exams on today. Primary dispersal, secondary dispersal. Primary, because it's in their feces, and secondary because they actually relocate them. Wow, go the ants. Birds, rabbits. Actually had a bird problem through the week. I had one fall out of the nest. It's been too hot. Anyway, it'll do. That was excellent. See if we can go through anything. Hello, user FM420. How's it going? Just been talking about seasonal changes and seed dispersal. If you have any questions, please put them in, or any comments or anything like that. This is interesting. I like that. I have to put that in the corridor effect. Corridor efficacy. I like that. EFFICACY. That's right. Very good stuff. User FM420 says, going fine. Lots of plants throwing seeds right now. Yes, use that to your advantage if you want that, or don't use it. You can. There's a technique called emasculation, which is the removal of the male bits. Here you go. No, I don't mean escalation. Emasculation. Where's my spell correction? Emascule. Emasculation, come on. Is it emasculation? Yes, emasculation, because the E bit is removal. This is why I put it in. So if you want to keep them, use them to your advantage, or emasculate, which means the act of removing the male bits. So all the little pollen sacs that you see, the anthers, you want to try and remove all those. Seven plants. Go on, this is yuck. I don't want to talk about that. I should. Jeez, it talks about human. Plant there, thanks. I do put that word in. Don't want to see any humans that have done that blooming surgery. No thanks. Don't use scissors. Holy, look at this little tiny miniature scissors. You pluck them. You don't use tweezers, it'll take too long even. You have to be careful though. See that they're not too ripe, because if once you touch them, they'll bust and they'll release their pollen. So you'll have to Make sure you get familiar with your with your pollen production. And usually they'll grow first. So if you see seeds, these have already started to produce pollen. They already started to disperse pollen. Collect the pollen from the male plant. Well, you don't collect the pollen. You collect the pollen inside of the pollen. The pollen grains is stored in the pollen sac, and you collect the whole thing. Then when you need it, you pull out an anther, cut it open with tweezers. See here? You collect that whole thing, pollen sac, then you've got the anthers inside of it, then there's pollen grains inside of that. Looking at this tomato one. So that's how you store them, and it'll last. You can store them in the whole thing. The grains are only viable for hours. Then the pollen sacs are only viable until they can stay hydrated and stuff. And the whole thing, whole pollen sac, there's a higher chance, especially if you freeze it. I've had ones good for 5 years. Confidently say 5 years. I should even test it, make sure it's see if it's just so I can say it longer now. So yes, if you don't want to keep them, you can do this technique, emasculation, and still get your flowering plant to flower out. It's very cool. There you go. This is a better one. See how it's stored. So you want to pick it at the right time. Because see when it blooms, bang, it spits out. And just before it does that too, the pollen sac opens with all of the anthers come out, or bananas. It does it. It's got some in here too. So it actually spits. Pff, you get a little bit of a puff. And then also these inside here, a little bit of puff too. So store it like that in the freezer. And when you need it, cut one pollen sac open, tweezer up this, cut it in half. I've got some videos on it if you want. That's how to get your keeper to be the pollinator forever. You store its pollen. I got actually I'm not good. Then you can use it whenever you want. Then you find another keeper of another species, and you think, "Rad, I'm going to cross these." And then you pull your keeper out with another potential keeper, and that you tested, and bang, you've got a new F1 that you've created that's going to have some very, very good potential because you've kept these genetics going for a reason. You've liked this or that about them, so there's a high chance you're going to see those traits in your offspring. All right, see if there's any other questions. Emasculation is rad though. I won't close that off. Do you have any here we go. Which characteristics from the male are most likely to be in the F1? Well, the offspring's going to be, it should be a 50% cross. So the genetics that get transferred will be 50%. And then you'll do your selection after that to see which traits you like, because they might swing in a little bit. Depends what your homozygosity or your heterozygosity is of your species. So if you're crossing one which is very reactive to stress events, that means the heterozygosity is high, and that means that its expressions will be high. Or you get a land race, which is a lot the opposite end, which is very homozygotic, and so its expressions are low. So if you go and cross that, you might get two or three phenotypes. Where if you go and cross heterozygotic, you get 9. So when you go doing tests, you can go, oh, geez, big, massive difference here. Sorry, back to the question. Which characteristics? I've done a few breeding courses. I'm familiar with breeding. Which characteristics from the male are most likely to be in the F1? Which characteristics from the male? Well, it's genetics, like 30,000 odd genes that you get in the plant. You'd expect 15,000 of the into the offspring from the male and 15,000 of the female. And that's produced, and that's going to produce non-feminized seeds. So you're going to get normal regular seeds. So your result from that is you're going to get male and female offspring. You haven't got particular feminized expressions if you're not using female genetics. If you're mixing the genetics, you'll get the cross genetics in the offspring. Otherwise, to get the females only, you'll use female pollen of a feminized plant, and you can get, and that really helps. I'm sort of getting a bit tongue-tied here. Which characteristics from the male are most likely to be in the F1? Which characteristics? Well, there's a 50%. All right, see if I can elaborate a bit more. Which course will I go into crop breeding? Yes. Just want really the basics. All right, I'll just start from the start. It might be easier. Cheers. Write some more questions, please, if you have them, because I can go into decent detail. What? I just went share screen and it says update available. Oh, hang on. I'll just cross that off. You saw me spinning, I'm trying to open. Wow. Steady on. Monohybrid cross. That's what this is. So you've got a hybrid. So the 1:2 is the 1 ratio of the genotypic ratio according to the monohybrid cross. So up here in the checkerboard, you call this thing, you put in your male and then your female, and you draw it across. So big P, little p, big P, little p, then down the bottom's little p, because this one is the heterozygotic one. This is the homozygotic one. So in the next generation, you'll come out, you'll end up getting this shows the, once you mix them through, it shows the 1 of that, 2 of that, 3 of that, and there's 1 as that. So just the ratio you're going to get, you can put in the, that probably confused it. Parent 1 and parent 2. Here's the same thing. So you're crossing R. It's a monohybrid cross, you can see, because it's a big R, big Y, little r, little y, and that's what you're going to get in the result. So you're going to get 50% of both parents. So you're going to get the big R, little y, R, big Y, little y. Then to show the actual percentage you're going to get from that, because this is a very heterozygotic cross, because you can see this one. So you put in the checkerboard down here. Male bits are up here. You put them in, and the female bits down here, and then you write them out. Once you put R, Y in there, so you get those letters up across, and then you can tell, you count them all up, and you can see what you're going to get. This is the one from a pea seed. So this is a test to see about round or wrinkled. Do I want round ones or wrinkled ones? So that's a test cross for that. And also, do you want yellow pods or green pods? See up here, the parent is yellow and green. So you're doing a cross to see what percentage is coming out yellow and what percentage is coming out green. So it depends what type of characteristic or gene. See, in here you're working with the morphologic gene. So you can call it R, big R, little r. And then you got your color expression gene, big Y, little y. There you go, and there's some more different crosses. Here it shows you the phenotype expression ratio. So 9, you expect 9 if you throw 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 seeds out, that 9 are going to be yellow, 3 are going to be green, and then 3 might be wrinkled to 1, 3 is to 1 ratio of the wrinkled to smooths. And, 9 is to 16, and that just explains that ratio of the 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. That's how you get it there. Because there's 16 seeds put out, that 9 with that, 3 with that, so that's what you get from your cross. So this is the independent segregation of the 2 different genes. There you go. Told you I can go into a bit of detail if you want. Cheers. Yes, you're welcome. If you enjoy the plant science, soil science, and microbiology stuff. And that was pretty cool. I haven't gone into genetics for ages. It's fun playing around with that stuff and seeds, and you can do all the right stuff, all the right saving of your keepers and new varieties. My last, I did a world burst last season, which was crossing broccoli and Brussels sprouts, rock sprouts. My plants grew out, quite a lot of them, about 10, and it was a bad cross. They needed some gibberellic acid because the DWF had a dominant DWF gene, and the fruit was the flowers were too bunched up. It was pretty cool though, good fun. Hey, there's Genetic Memory Farms going, mate. Weird, no notifications or anything, and I was looking. Sorry, that's all right, buddy. You would have liked today's one too. We're talking about seasonal changes and seed dispersal. Actually, I'm going to show you the corridor efficacy, because this is good for others to know. Just this one interesting point. And then there's a cool at user FM420 just asked some pretty rogue questions on breeding. So it was nice to explain across. What was I showing? Oh, the corridor efficacy. Check this out. I don't want to lose that. It's today's show. This thing. So also I was talking about seed vectoring and how it gets dispersed, wind, water, and all that sort of stuff. This is a way to, if you've got animals and you've got them, because I've got problems with neighbours and they foxes, etc., transport. So this is a way to trap the seeds by building a corridor. And I just haven't seen that before, and it's something I learnt today, so I thought I'd share it. Subordinate movement through the corridor. Yeah, it's rad. But yes, you were harvesting your bean seeds, weren't you? Harvested choy, beans, basil, dill, and coriander for seeds all day today. Wow. Good luck, mate. Hey, what's your technique for separating the green leaf material from the seeds, please? Because those seeds that you make, old green beans is big, but the other ones, especially dill, that's miniature. Like tobacco seeds. Remember there was 4 characteristics of the seeds? There was the macro, micro, meso, and dwarfs. So it's just thought it's interesting because I was outside the other day and I broke open some of my clover seeds that I'm producing, and the wind at the time was perfect as for getting rid of the top bit of material from the seeds itself. And all I was left in my hand was just all the seed grain. It was just excellent. I was very wrapped with that. Where I live, my dill just sprouted that. See, I like that. On YouTube. My computer's slow. Oh, right, already there. So, yes, just shaky. Okay. To separate the material from seeds. Try wind. Try using wind. You'll be very happy, but it can be messy. So do it in a shed or something and set up a fan, and then you move closer and further away from the fan. You get a table and you see whereabouts the right position you can get, and all of a sudden you drop your seeds and you drop everything through, and at one section, one container, the closest one will be all the crap, and then maybe the furthest one away will be all the seeds. You'll get a separation barrier from everything. And or you can build, what was the thing that I had? Like a bowl where all the material, you shake it, and then you have a bowl, and then all the material sitting inside of it. All the material sitting inside of it. Here's some white clover. And then when I shake it, all of the heavier stuff comes to the top and the lighter stuff goes to the bottom. So when I get in front of the fan, well, this has to be all ground up for starters. You know, it's getting pretty dry now. So I'll grind it all up and get it all really light. And then the fan will blow off the top layer, and then I'll keep doing this more. Then it'll go to the corner, and then it'll blow more and more, and then I'll just be left with a little tiny bit at the bottom. And then out of that little bit at the bottom, I can do a little bit of separation nearly by hand. But you just get smaller and smaller, and then you end up with all of the grains at the bottom. That's one technique I've found that works pretty easy for me. And the many techniques that there are, it's something good that I do sitting down at night, like watching the cricket. I just play with the seeds because they've all got to be produced. Oh, here. They've got to be. Seeds don't usually sit on the outside. They're protected. So this one, I dry them heavily, and then I'll shatter all of the pods to get the seeds available, and then manually do it. I won't put it through a machine. Remember when you put stuff through these machines to grind them up, they create heat because there's friction involved. I'll do this lots over quite a few times just to get them down smaller and smaller and open up and rupture all the outside seed pods. You can see it's already looking pretty small. And I'll get it finer and finer again, and then I can start doing that technique. And see, from that shaking it, all the bigger stuff comes to the top, and then the smaller stuff will be in the bottom. And there's already a stack of seeds in there across the bottom. So once the wind blew that out, even this little tiny amount is heaps. Did I show it right? If you don't want to emasculate, and then if I emasculated, I wouldn't get anything like that. You just get everything growing. Just clean up. Go back later. Yes. Well, that was pretty good talking about seeds. Put that in the title. Does anybody have any other suggestions for seeds? How's your actually? Are you going to store them? The reason why you separate all the green leaf material, I could store them right now like that for next season, but there's probably fungi spores which are just waiting to produce their enzymes and produce the cellulase and break down the cellulose, lignin, and the other materials that's in the cell walls of the plants. So by removing all that plant material and having seeds only, there's a higher chance of success. That's why you remove it. So you can still store them like that. But yes, you run the risk. Talked a bit about emasculation. That was pretty good. What else is there to talk about? I like the corridor effect, the seed dispersal. Yeah. 47 minutes. Been going all right. My exam starts, cell signaling exam starts in 2 hours. Genetic Memory Farm says, my biggie worry is it is first frost and I still got some beans not finished yet. Think I will just see how long they take. Well, what you do there is you got to cover it, and then it's going to get cold under there. So you want to put a lot of material, like wrap it in a blanket, and I'm growing pineapples, and it snowed here, and I get many frosts. So I got pineapples, and how you get around those events is you got to wrap them in a blanket. So organic matter. So grow the weeds longer, put hay around it, still allowing the stomata on the bottom sides of the leaves, depends what leaf blades it is. It could be a monocot too, so you want the tops of the leaves to be accessible so it can breathe, respire. It's beans, you're saying. So yeah, just the bottoms of the leaves, you want it to be accessible so it can respire, otherwise it'll wilt, like us having no oxygen. And then it's got its blanket around it. And water, believe it or not, is a frost tolerant. Depends how cold it gets. If you're getting down to 0 F, you're in trouble. But if you're getting down to 25, 28, it can be handled. And if it's going to be that for 12 hours, you're in trouble. If it's going to be in frost conditions for only 2 or 3 hours, you might be all right. There's another way you could do is put resistive cable into the soil, but it's a bit late because it sounds like the event's going to happen soon. And what would I do? I would just try that and see if it survived, because I don't want immature seeds. I'd be happy with the ones I got and realise next year I just got to adjust things for the weather. That's what I'd do if I was in your situation, mate. I'm sure and I know you've already gotten seeds. You just wanted to get extras. Need till. I think I should just. I don't know what you mean by that. Need to start preparing soil for next year soon. Yes. that's what I was discussing at the start, the seasonal changes, about the seeds that carry on. So you're talking about, you want to plant clover right now. Look into some white and red clover. The red clover produces a smidgen more. There's actually a nice persimmon, purple one too. And the reds produce a bit more nitrogen fixing in their leguminous roots, Leguminaceae family. Yeah, that's going into it. Stay on topic. That's what you want to do. So the things that I'm harvesting right now, mate, you need that in your hands to disperse in your fields, and then that will germinate soon, and it'll grow through winter, creating a nice slow growth through winter. And if you get some of those psychotropic microbes that can nitrogen fix and solubilize phosphorus through winter, oh wow, your fields will be noticeable from NASA, and there'll be people come over. You'll have those black suited guys, not because of UFOs, because of your blooming fields. What's going on here? What are you doing? Yes. Yeah, that was talked about that at the start. Seasonal changes and seed dispersal. For that reason, the southern hemisphere is going into the heat, and the northern hemisphere is going into the chill. So by working with that, you can have massive advantages for your field. You don't have to buy seed for the next year. Depends what crops you want to go in. If you're having a winter crop, you might be stuffed because your seeds will keep growing over winter. But if you have a summer crop, you can alternate that quite well, like for instance with garlic. So I can let my summer seeds keep going through summer. They'll produce only when it gets hot, but garlic's finished then. So it's a way of getting free organic matter and seeds in organic farms. So I like to promote organics because organics is the future. Well, I've got to get back to my exam studies, I think. Cell communications is going to be so hard. Starts in 2 hours. And then I've got science of happiness and well-being. And that's just going to be a joy and pleasure, just like the class was to do. I learned some good stuff in that too. That's another time to talk about. If you want to pick my brains on that course, I'm sure you'll get some, some positives to take home. I'll probably even adjust your life they have with me. It's really cool to get good education. That there was even a monk that come and gave us a lecture. I was just stoked just to hear the way they talk and their calmness, and it's just, I don't know, trying to bring out the positive in life. It's pretty hard these days, and it's such a negative world. So anything I grasp onto, I got a few things to grasp onto from that course. That'll do. Stay on topic. It's seeds. So, oh, okay. That's another thing too. You know, I live off grid, and I don't know what I want to talk about actually. I just got the hell off grid system. It's really good. I'm adjusting things for overcast days, but that's off the topic too. Yes, you should always start preparing your soil, thinking a year ahead, and then you can break that down into the seasons. So you go, all right, you got to think the next year, I got to plan this, and then break it down into the 12 months. All right, how the seasons go. Oh, it starts to get warm in April. Okay, well in April I got to start till all my winter stuff back through, and sow all my warmer stuff once the frost is finished. As an example, that's for the northern hemisphere, because most of this stream goes to the northern hemisphere. Sorry, southern hemisphere folk, where I live at the moment. But preparing your paddocks is vital for success. Where I get an example. I'm not even going to talk about the neighbours. You can use the seasons to your advantage by doing it that way, using Mother Nature and her weather events too. You have to plan around the weather. You got to till and seed and then top dress just before it rains. So you've got to plan times for that. And you can't go and just till the whole paddock and think, oh, and then I'll wait. Okay, good. You probably have to re-till it. And you can't go and just, I'm getting off subject here. Yeah, but preparing for the next season is a must. It's to your advantage, and if you don't, you'll just learn. You just think, oh, okay, how can I have done it better next year? And then, because by writing stuff down in your 1 year calendar that you'll get, you'll look at the next year and go, oh, look, I did that on this date. Oh, I did that on that date. What? My neighbour says to do it in May, but I did it actually 3 weeks earlier. I was planting my potatoes in April. So stuff like that, because the climate is changing now, and agronomists are saying, do it now, do it whatever. Well, they also say you can't grow pineapples where it snows. So there is techniques to achieve results, and especially with a warming climate that we've got, you'd be surprised what you can get. And then you're also creating especially you, genetic memory farms, you're creating seed epigenetic production in your growth. So when next season comes over, you've planted it's a bit cold, they've coded the genes to be in that environment, and then the microbes that work in that environment would have clung and might be more favorable to the cells inside of the plants. So you've got a good symbiosis there, and then you go and produce the seeds from that, and then the progeny from that has that coding with the microbes in it, and before you know it, you've got a crop that outcompetes anybody just by making your own seeds in your environment, creating those conditions. So it's pretty cool, mate. Good on you. I'm doing the same thing. And if you go and source, for instance, here's an example. If you go and source garlic from a hotter climate, you'll get it, and it's, oh no, what's the results? I had to do it for the first season. You get, is it poor bulbing? What's it, small? I can't remember. But it affects it. So by sourcing it from cold and then going into a warmer climate, it's a lot different. But because I'm in an extremely cold environment, it was hard to source garlic living in one of the coldest areas in Australia, outside of the snowy mountains. So yeah, preparation's key. All right, I've talked for an hour. There's no questions coming through. I reckon that's it. What do you think? Wait till next week. I've got 2 more 3-hour exams next weekend as well. Maybe I can talk about some of those slides. That's more funner. Industrial biotechnology. I love that course. That was so cool. Yeah, we might be able to do that in the course next week if there's no requests. I can go through a lot of those slides. That'll still refresh my mind. I'm going to put that in. Hopefully it's the first exam, even if it's not, it doesn't matter. Good idea. Thank you, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Thanks for listening. Press the thumbs up if you thought it was worthy of it. And I hope to see you all next week. I've got 2 hours exactly to my exam starts, the cell signaling. I'm going to hit the books. But you don't do it anymore, do you? I'm going to hit the, what do they say now? I'm going to hit the screen. I'm going to go hit the mouse pad. No. What's that old thing that they used to, I wonder what the new age one is. Wouldn't have a clue. It's funny. All right. User FM420 says, cheers, CC, thank you. Genetic Memory Farm says, I am big. Sorry, bud. Love to hear about the wellness and happiness course. Okay. Remind me one time. We'll do that probably after not next week, because I might do industrial, because I got that exam today. That's on. Can you believe I got it from 3 hours before I go to bed is when it starts until when I go to bed is when the exam finishes, because of the time difference in India. Hopefully it won't take me 3 hours before the exam and I can get out of there. It's the end of the cricket. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that course too, because it's a life changer. It's just hard in this negative world to try and be positive in that. And that course was all about that. Appreciate what you have, meditate, calm your mind down, not just your body, because you have anxious thoughts of everyone, blah, blah. It's pretty rad. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I really look forward to talking about that, because that's only a positive course, that. Yeah. And you should be beat too. What's the time? It's 9:30 p.m. where you are. That's pretty late. I got faith in you, brother, he says. Yes, I'll do all right. The cell signaling might be hard, but I'll still pass the other 3 courses, the other 3 exams this semester. But thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope you press the thumbs up if you thought it was good, and save your questions till next week. And have a brilliant week and weekend. Happy breeding, happy growing, good health to you all. Enjoy some DB after. And enjoy some DB after. That's right. That's right. You got that right. Some pink DB it is. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.